Well, thank you for joining us here on the Noon Show. I'm joined by meteorologist Nathan Scott. And Nathan, it is the middle of the week. I hear the sirens going off here in downtown Little Rock just for that warning, that typical warning that we get. But also, it's a little chilly. I don't want to use the word chilly.
No, don't say chilly.
The temperatures have dropped a little bit. I don't want to go too far and say it's chilly. But
let's put this in perspective now, Jurnee, because usually around this time of year, we should be seeing highs into the upper 60s. And where we stand right now is pretty much very close to those numbers, upper 60s to lower 70s. We start off the day with lots of sun in parts of central Arkansas, but you see that deck of clouds sneaking its way in here from east and southeast Arkansas, so it's a different story on where you're watching us from, and these clouds are producing a few isolated light showers. You see them trying to make their way in here from Louisiana, then they kind of fall apart. But if you're watching us in Monticello, Star City, Dumas, McGee, Gillette, there could be certainly a passing shower. So the rain chance out there today is going to be confined to east and southeast Arkansas, with that rain chance going up to a 40% right along the Mississippi River. Overall, we'll see partly sunny skies, more sunshine off to the west, highs today warming up into the upper 60s to lower 70s. I'm talking about a better chance of more widespread rainfall just in time for the weekend. That forecast and more coming up.
Well, this afternoon, the world is reacting to Donald Trump's successful bid for president in the 2024 election. As power hangs in the balance for total control of the U.S. Congress, Jared Hill recaps the big moments from last night.
Victory for the American people.
Overnight, Donald Trump relished in what his supporters call the greatest political comeback in American history.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Trump's campaign strategy to appeal to people who don't vote frequently in key battleground states worked, ultimately putting him well over the required 270 electoral votes. And it's what played out in make or break Pennsylvania.
People who voted early, they went overwhelmingly for Kamala Harris. But then what happened yesterday? Boom, Donald Trump turned out more people day of.
Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign has always said if she loses, she'll concede the race. That call to her opponent could come today. She's also expected to address supporters at her alma mater, Howard University.
You won't hear from the vice president tonight.
The crowd there dispersed last night after learning Harris wouldn't make an appearance. As Team Trump prepares to head back to the White House, they're calling for hope and optimism.
He is going to be a president for all Americans.
Senior advisor Jason Miller says the president-elect can hit the ground running with executive orders.
He can simply flip the switch on day one, secure the border, start the energy exploration again, which will help with reducing inflation, making things more affordable.
A vast majority of voters nationwide described the economy as bad. It was a top concern among Trump voters. Jared Hill, CBS News, the White House.
Well, back at the state level, voters decided on a number of key issues spanning across several counties, one of which included the fate of future casinos. According to the Associated Press, the hot topic issue 2 ballot measure has passed. Around 56% of people voted for the measure, while 44% voted against. With that, the Pope County casino license will be stripped away, and the state amendment will change to allow a county-wide vote before casinos are built.
The other side wanted a local vote, and the local vote was had tonight, and it said Pope County residents wanted this resort to come here.
Well, that was Pope County Judge Ben Cross, who said in a statement, points towards that the people closest to the issue, those living in Pope County, actually wanted the casino, and claims the loss is being seen as a validation for the hard work of Legends Casino and Resort. Well, people in Little Rock yet again chose their side in the push to raise sales tax by voting down the increase, putting a halt to the plans from the city's mayor. The proposed increase was split between two taxes, with the first being the 3/8 of a cent tax. It would have been a permanent change, allowing funding for general operations. As you can see, it failed, with 60% of people voting against the measure and 40% in favor. Now, the 5/8 of a cent tax suffered a similar fate. Its goal was to improve public safety, infrastructure, parks and recreation, and the Port of Little Rock. That tax would have expired in 10 years. but ultimately failed with 63% votes against and just 37% in favor. Now, in response, Little Rock Mayor Frank Scott Jr. issued a statement overnight voicing his frustration over another defeat. The mayor shared his respect for voters and said that he will, quote, continue to improve the quality of life and place initiatives and keep moving forward to take Little Rock to new heights, end quote. Now, there are a number of other key races to follow statewide. Our team has made it easy to keep track of how you and those in your community voted. To see additional races, results, and to follow any election-related information, visit our website. That's thv11.com. Well, the world is watching as the GOP fights to reclaim Capitol Hill. With control of the U.S. House still up in the air, Michael George breaks down the potential future of abortion rights.
First-time Republican candidate Bernie Moreno won his bid to unseat Democrat incumbent Sherrod Brown in Ohio's Senate race, one of several contests that helped Republicans retake control of the Senate.
We're going to have a bold and ambitious agenda for the Republican Party.
In deep red Montana, Republican Tim Sheehy bested incumbent Democrat John Tester, and West Virginia Governor Jim Justice won in his state. The seat had been held by independent Senator Joe Manchin, who caucused with Democrats for 14 years and announced his retirement. It could be days before it's clear which party will control the U.S. House of Representatives. Democrats flipped 2 key seats in upstate New York. In New York's 19th district, Republican Representative Mark Molinaro lost to Democrat Josh Riley.
I believe in upstate New York, I believe in all of you, and I believe in our promise and our potential.
Millions of Americans also weighed in on abortion rights in 10 states. There were wins in 7 states, including here in New York. Measures also passed in Colorado, Maryland, Montana, Nevada, Arizona, and Missouri, which currently bans abortion entirely with the exception of medical emergencies.
My individual rights are super important, as are my girls.
Abortion opponents prevailed in Nebraska, South Dakota, and Florida. Only about 57% of voters supported the measure in the Sunshine State. They needed 60%.
It is still a historic outcome that demonstrates how the majority of Floridians oppose Governor DeSantis' 6-week abortion ban.
Abortion rights advocates say they'll continue to fight to overturn Florida's 6-week ban. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A Minnesota woman found herself in an unexpected place when it was time to give birth. We share her story of a not-so-typical delivery next.
And we're talking about the average temperature this time of year. So take a look at meteorological fall. By November 15th, we should be seeing a high typically in the low 60s. Is that in the forecast anytime soon? Will it feel like fall? I'll have that answer coming up.